All right. So this is the day one of the STAAR review. I didn't have my mic set up correctly, so hopefully it's working now. The first two slides, I'm not going to go over. You guys can look at it. It's just strategies to take the STAAR test, and some of these I'll go over as I go through the review. Okay. And of course, you have the formula sheet, the reference materials. All right. The first question here is. It asks you which function is best represented by the graph. Now, when you ask that question, there's several ways you can go after this. What I want you to get in the mindset that if whenever you see a linear graph or linear function, think of these things. You want to think of slope. What is the slope? Is the slope positive or negative? The x-intercept and the y-intercept. All right, so that's the first thing I want you guys to think of. And so if by looking at this graph right here, I can see that this slope is negative because it's going down. From left to right, the slope is going down. So the slope is negative. So m is negative. So, but just by looking at the answer choices now, I can see that I can eliminate H and J because, I'm sorry, the slope is negative. I can eliminate F and G because those are positive. Okay, so now I'm just left with H and J. Well, let's look at the y-intercept of this graph. Well, the y-intercept is 4. So therefore, J has to be the right answer. Okay, so you see, by looking at those options, I can figure the right answer. Another way you can do this, I know you don't have the calculator right now, is to graph it. You can graph each answer choices in the calculator and see which one matches the graph. And I'll talk about that more in class, how to graph the functions in the calculator, okay? So that's the first one right there. Is there anything else I can talk about this? I think that's it. And the noise you're hearing in the background is the housekeeping, cleaning my room. All right. The next question is, okay, given the function, which statement is true? Now, what I want you guys to think of this, the easiest way of doing this is graphing this on your calculator. And then you can see what the x-intercepts are. If you guys, you can use, right now you don't have the calculator, if you can use Desmos function, right? You can graph this on Desmos, see where the x-intercepts are. And then you can figure out the answer choices. Now, remember in class, I told you, right? For instance, when you graph this on the calculator and your graph looks like this, and I haven't graphed this, I'm just going to show you an example. If you graph this on your calculator and say it looks something like, say 1 is -2, I'm going to say -2 and say 8. Say if this is -2 right here, and this is 8. Right, so you know the zeros are x equals -2 and x equals x equals 8. So those are the zeros, those are the x-intercept. As factor form now, right? You know it's going to be, flip the signs, x plus 2 and x minus 8. Okay, so that's probably the easiest way to do this. And you have the calculator, you can use the calculator on the test, graph it, see what the x-intercepts are, and then use a factor. So that's one option you can do, or you can factor the equation, which is a bit longer. So let's do that now. We're going to factor this. All right. Again, I'm not saying this is the right answer. I'm just showing you an example of how you can go after the answer. Well, since I don't have my calculator right now, I'm going to factor this and see what is the right answer. So x squared, I'm going to insert a new slide, x squared minus 6x minus 16. X squared minus 6x minus 6. I think that's it, okay? So I'm going to factor this now. I'm going to start test. I'm going to factor this. Okay, and draw my X box. We know that the first one is going to be X squared. That's going to be minus 16. This is my A, B, and C, all right? We know A is 1. A times C is going to be negative 16. That goes on top. And we know B is the bottom, which is minus 6, minus 16. Oops. All right. So what two factors now, when I add them gives me negative 6, but when I multiply them gives me negative 16. And that is, if I go, I think that's going to be negative 8 and 2, right? So it's going to be negative 8 and 2. And if you're stuck, guys, just list all the factors on the side. Okay. Now I'm going to have a negative 8x here and a positive 2x. Now, again, when it's x squared, you know it's very easy to solve it. X and x right here. And so this is going to be now 2 goes here, and this is going to be minus 8. So my factors now are x plus 2 times x minus 8. And so the solutions, right, the x-intercepts now are going to be set x plus 2 equals 0 and x minus 8 is equal to 0. And so we're going to have x equals minus 2 and x is equal to 8. Guys, if you don't remember now, we just minus 2 here, minus 2 there, and this we just add 8 and we add 8. All right. So let's see. Again, so this is the right answer. If I can remember, x plus 2 and x minus 8. Let's see. Let's go back to the sheet now. X plus 2 and x minus 8. X plus 2 and x minus 2. That's the right one, right? Let's go back. X plus 2, okay, and x minus 8. X plus 2 and x minus 8. X plus 2. Okay, so this is the right one then. All right, x plus 2. So J is the right answer. All right, so J. So that's one way of doing it. Well, I think if you graph it on a calculator, that's probably faster. All right. So that was number 4. At number 6, let's look at number 6 now. Number 6, what is the equation in slope-intercept form that pass through the points? So remember what slope-intercept form is, right? Slope-intercept form is y is equal to mx plus b. Slope-intercept form. So the first thing I'm going to do is find my slope. And so we got to do that. And so that's going to be m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So my y, just pick any one. My y2 is 34. This is my x2. This is my y1, and that's my x1. All right. And so let's plug in the numbers now. Y2 is going to be 34 minus 11 over x2, which is 39, minus 26. Oops, minus 26. Let's write it clearly. So this can give me the book can give me a positive number. 34 plus 11 over 39 plus 26. Is that correct? Yes. And so 34 and 11, that's going to be, I need some more space. That's going to give me a 5. 4, 1 is 5, and 45 over 9 and 6 is 15. Carry 1, 5, and 6 to 5. And so if I reduce this now, okay. So 5 into 45 goes 9. 5 into that goes 1, and 15, that's 13. Yeah, so 9, 13. So my slope now is 9 over 13. Therefore, I can eliminate, it's a positive number. So F and G are gone because those are negative. I'm just left with H and J. as my right answer. Okay. And so I'm going to write this now. No, to write this in slope-intercept form now, we're going to have to write in point slope form and then convert it to slope-intercept form. All right. All right. So I was trying to find an easy way to do this. There's a couple ways you can do this, right? So once you find your slope now, so your slope is m is equal to 9/13. And we figured out f and g are not part of solutions. That leaves h and j now. Okay, so again, I'll show you guys this in class, or if I can find time when I can meet with you guys before the class starts next week, the review starts next week. You can graph on a calculator, you can graph each of these on a calculator, and there's a function called Control T. You press Control T and it shows you the X and Y values for each of these graphs. And then you can scroll on the values and see which one of these points are in those tables. That's one way. It's hard to explain unless you have the calculator with you. Another way you can do this is, do I really want to write the equation for this? Nah, let's try this one. I'm going to plug in each of these points into the equations, right? And see which one is true. That means the left side must equal the right side. So let's look at this one now. So I'm going to try 39 and 34. I'm going to put that into this equation and see the left side is equal to the right side. So y, from this point, again, you can pick any point, doesn't matter which one. I'm going with this one first. Y is 34, so I'm put 34, I'm using h. So 34 is equal to 9/13. My x value is 39 times 39. Oops. Okay, everybody see that? And that's plus 7. Now, if you calculate this now, 9 times 39 divided by 3 is going to be 3 times, it's going to be 27. I'll let you figure it out on a calculator. Divide 13 to 39, that's 3. And 3 times 9 is 27. So I'm going to have 34 now is going to equal to 27 plus 7. As you can see, yes, that's correct. So 34 is equal to 34. So this point is on the line. Okay. So that's correct. Now I'm going to show you now. And if you use this point now in this equation, you'll get the same answer. The left side will equal the right side. Let's try plugging this point now into this equation and see if the left side equals the right side. Let me erase this. Let's erase that. Okay, so it's just working smart. I'm gonna plug in now this point into J now. Let's see, Y is 34. So Y is 34. Oops. So Y is 34, and that's equal to 9/13. My X value now is 39 times 39, and that's minus 7. Again, divide 13 into 39 goes 3. 3 9 is 27. So I'm going to have 27 is equal to 34 minus 7. 34 does not equal to 20. See that? So just by plugging the points into the equation, I can see which answer is correct. So H is the correct answer. Good. And then also in class, I'll show it to the calculator to help you do this one too. All right, so that's number 6. Let's move on to the next one. That's not what I'm looking for. So that one, we did that one. Okay, what is the solution to this? There's actually a very easy way of doing this on a calculator. There's a function to do it on a calculator. If not, you're just gonna have to work it out, distribution method, right? So let's see, I'm going to distribute 4 times y and 4 times 3, right? So that's going to be 4y minus 12 plus 19 is equal to 8 times 2 is 16y. 8 times 3 is 24 plus 7. Okay, and let's combine like terms. So my like terms here are negative 12 and 19. So when I do that now, I'm going to get 4y. Add those two, that's plus 7, is equal to 16y. On the left side, my like terms are 24 and 7. That is 31 plus 16y plus 31. Okay. Now I'm going to move all my y's to the left side. So I'm going to minus 16y here, minus 16y, and that's going to give me, that becomes 0. Now this becomes, I'm going to bring down my plus 7, right? Make sure you bring down your 7. So when I add these two, 4 and minus 16, that's minus 12, y plus 7, and that's equal to 31. Now I'm going to minus the 7 from both sides, minus 7 from both sides, and that's going to give, that becomes 0. Now I'm left with minus 12y is equal to 31 minus 7, that's going to go 7 from 11, that's 4, yes, 4 here, and then we have 24, negative 24. And you divide both sides by negative 12, divide by negative 12, divide by negative 12, I get y is equal to positive 2. All right, so J is the answer. Okay, and again, there's an easy way you can do. You can punch the equation in the calculator right here, and it gives you the y value. And I'll show you that when we get a chance to do that. Okay, so again, the key here is distribution. Distribution, combine like terms, move the y's to the left side, move the numbers to the right side, and solve for y. Okay. Again, so what is the solution? They just don't know what is the y value. Again, another way, I think this is a very long way you could do is, you could plug again, and then you could plug each value into the equation. You can plug negative 1/2 in here, then solve. You can replace y with negative 1/2. So 4 times negative 1/2 minus 3 plus 19 is equal to 8 times 2 times negative 1/2 plus 3 plus, you can put that in the calculator, and again, you could do that, but that's a lot of time. You got to plug in each value in to see which one is the right one. I think that's a lot of work. So if you just know how to do the distribution, solve for y, you'll be good. All right. So let's look at what is the solution. Again, very similar to number 10. What is the solution for this? Again, we're going to distribute the 4, and then solve. Here, distribute the 3 and then solve. So this is going to give me negative 4 times 2 is negative 8m. Negative 4 times negative 7 is going to be a positive 28. 3 times 52 is 6. 3 times 5 is 15, and minus 12m. Okay, and then we just move the m's to the left side. I'm going to plus 12m here. Plus 12m, plus 12m. And then that's going to give me, now this becomes 0. Bring down my 156. And that's going to equal to negative 8 and 12. That's a positive 4. So that's 4m. And then bring down my 28 plus 28. Then minus 28 on both sides. Minus 28 on both sides now. That becomes 0. So I'm left with now 4m is equal to, on this side, 8 from 16 is 8, and 2 from 14 is 12. and divide this by 4 on both sides. M is equal to 32. Is that correct? Yeah, F is the right answer. All right. Again, very simple. Again, there's another way you can use a calculator to solve this. And I'll show you guys how to do that in class. All right. Okay, let's see. Let's move on to this one. Okay, word problem. This is a graph. You can tell it's a growth decay problem because of look at the formula, right? It's a number raised to the power of x. So whenever you see this as exponential, and they want to know, based on submission, which function best relates. Again, another way you can do this, you could graph each function in the calculator and see which one matches this. But you can also eliminate your answer choices. All right. So how can we do that? Well, remember, let's look at the graph. What is the y-intercept on this graph? What is the y-intercept? Well, you can see where the line crosses the y-axis, right? This 25. So therefore, I can eliminate G and C. Because remember, in exponential, right? F of x is equal to A times B to the power of x. This number right here is your y-intercept. So by looking at the graph on the answer choices, my y-intercept here is 25. So therefore, G and is it G? No, A and C are not your answer choices, A and C. So that leaves now B and D. 25. Oh, it's 25.5. I'm sorry. Oops. 25.5. Okay. Yeah, roughly 25.5. Anyway, so A and C are no longer answer choices. So we got to look at now B and D. All right. And so in order to do that, we're going to look at, all right, so your next step now is to find your growth factor. So remember, let me go back for a second. So remember, this is the A is your Y value initial value. This is your y-intercept. The A is your y-intercept initial value. I think that makes it for a second, all right? And the B is your growth factor, all right? So how do we find the growth factor B now? So we have two answers. We're looking at B and D. So how do you know which one is which one? Well, there's two ways you can do this. So let's look at the coordinates. We have X and Y. So we have one for this point right here. It is 1, 15.3, and the other one is 2, 9.18. So, and we could go, in fact, I can squeeze in the top one, which is 0. Let me make this 0, 25.5. 25. I didn't mean to leave that out. So we have our X and our Y values. All right. To find the growth factor or decay factor, right? Pick any Y value. Remember this? Pick any Y value in the Y column and then divide it by the preceding number. So I could just take any one. I could take, say, 9.18. All right. I could take 9.18 and divide it by 15.3. And that is your growth. That's how you find the B value. And that's going to give you 0.6. So you can see that B is the answer. But do I even have to do that? If you look at the graph is decreasing, right? Therefore, the decay factor has to be less than 1. So remember, if your decay factor B, if B is less than 1, that means your graph is decreasing. If B is greater than 1, that means your graph is increasing. So by looking at the graph, I can see it's decreasing. Therefore, my growth factor has to be less than 1. So again, B is my answer. All right. So without even doing any calculation, all right, I can just look at the numbers and see which one it is. All right. So those are things I want you guys to get really good at. All right. So so that's number 11. Let's see what we have next. I didn't mean for this to be this long. You have a quadratic function, and again, which graph best represents the equation? Okay, so one way you can do this is you can graph each answer choices, graph each one, right, and see which one matches the graph. You know, that's one way of doing it. Or, okay, and so if you look at this problem right here, you realize, you remember when we did transformation? Okay, let's go back and review a little bit. So remember transformation, right? Let me use a blank ink. Transformation, remember we did this, right? Our parent function, right, is f of x is equal to x squared, all right? And so if this function goes on a transformation, for instance, if I add f of x equal to x squared plus 1, right, that just means that the graph, this is my y-intercept right here. That means the graph shifts up 1 unit on the graph went up, the graph went up 1 unit on the y-axis. So this is 1 right here. If this was -1 now, right, x squared minus 1, that just means that the graph shift down 1 unit. Remember that? Okay. And if A is negative, now if this is a negative sign right here, if A is negative right here, that means the graph flips over the x-axis. So then that for the graph, if we have f of x is equal to minus x squared, say plus 1, the graph flips over the x-axis and it cross the y-axis at 1. Right. So a quick review. So if we look at this now, we can see that there are all my A values are negative. It's good. The graph is open downwards. It flips. But look at where the graph crosses the y-axis. It's at 8. It's 8. So therefore, you can see which one I can eliminate, right? I can eliminate F and G. Again, most STAAR problems, 2 answers are wrong. And you just got to look at the graph. So now that leaves me with H and J. 2 to work with. Now, 2 ways you can do this now. You can graph H and J and see if the y-intercept matches -4 and 4. Again, at home, you may want, if you don't have that calculator, you can use Desmos graph, all right, and see. You can graph this now and see that what the y-intercept is. Or you can solve. If I want to find the y-intercept for the function, I got to set f of x equal to 0. And let's do that. Let me erase this for a second, get some space here, okay? So I'm just going to pick 1 and see if it works out. Let's go with J. I know J is not the right answer, so I'm going to go with J and show you. So we have, I'm going to solve for the x-intercept. So when you solve for the x-intercept, right, the y value is 0. So you're going to set f of x is equal to minus x squared plus 8. I got to set y to 0, f of x to 0 is equal to minus x squared plus 8. Now I want the x on my left side, right? So I'm going to add x squared on both sides. So plus x squared here, plus x squared there. That becomes 0 now. So I'm left with x squared is equal to 8. Now remember in class, how do we solve that? Take the square of both sides. Take the square here, take the square of that. That gives me x is equal to square of 8 is, I don't know, 3 3 is 9, 3 point something. So I know this is not 3 point something. So J is not the right answer. So J is not the right answer. All right. So that has to be H. All right, I'm going to show you how to solve for H now. How do we solve for H? All right. Oh, come on, eraser. Again, where's my pen? So for H now, again, we have f of x is equal to minus 1/2 x squared plus 8. Okay. Again, we're going to set y equals 0. So 0 is equal to negative 1/2 x squared plus 8. I want my x value on the left side. So simply, this is negative 1/2 x squared. If I want to cancel it, all I'm going to do is add 1/2 x squared to both sides, plus 1/2 x squared to both sides. So that gives me now 1/2 x squared is equal to 8. Now I want x squared by itself. How do I cancel the 1/2? Think about it. Right, I just multiply by 2. If I multiply by 2 here, I got to multiply by 2 here, times 2. The 2 cancel that. That just gives me x squared. And 2 times 8 is 16. Take the square of both sides. I get x is equal to plus or minus 4. Well, so x squared is equal to 16. And I take the square of both sides. Square of x squared is equal to square root of 16. X is equal to plus or minus 4. As you can see now, that is the right answer because those are the x-intercepts. All right, see that? So different ways you can do it. You can graph the 2 answers you have left into the calculator and see which one matches it, the graph, the x-intercepts. Or you can solve algebraically. Either one will give you the right answer. All right, let's move on. Almost there. Again, you can do this 2 ways. Yes, you can do this 2 ways, right? You can graph the cat. Okay, we can solve this using the Xbox method. That's one way. Or you could use the calculator and graph this into the calculator, graph the answer choices and see which one matches that. That's one way of doing it. All right. Or you can factor it, is one way. So let's look at factoring. I'm thinking, should I try the completeness square? All right, let's not do that. So let's factor. So we're going to have now, I need some space. All right, so let's do the Xbox method. That's not going to work because it's a fraction. I know that's not going to work. So trying to see which one is the best one to go with here. Okay, so we got to figure out which way we're going to factor this. You could use a quadratic equation, or you could factor with the Xbox method. Now, I'm going to tell you now, on a STAAR test, these are some big numbers. I think I said earlier, whenever you have quadratic equations, just graph it in the calculator, then graph each of the answer choices and see which one matches this. Okay, that's just the easier way to go. Or you can factor it. So I'm going to go to factor method and show you how to do that. So I'm going to use the Xbox method. So I have my X. Oops, let me get some more space. Put it over here. Xbox. All right, a little bit small. And now we know this becomes 2x squared. This is 63. And over here now, it's 8 times c, those on top, right? So 2 times 63 is 126. You're like, ooh, some big numbers. And then minus 25. Don't let it scare you. All right. So let's see what the factors are. Okay, we know we're going to have 1 and 126. Okay. 2 is a factor because it ends in an even number. So 2 and 63. Okay, 3 is a factor. So 3 into 12 goes 4, and 36 goes 2. 4 is not a factor. If you divide 126 by 4, it's not a factor. 5 is not a factor. 6 is a factor. Divide 126 by 6, you get 21. And then 7 is a factor. As I'm doing it, I'm looking at, I'm doing a mental check to see which pair is going to work. Is 7 going to work? 7 is a factor. Divide 126 by 7, you get 18. That's close enough. Let's see. If I make this negative and this negative, and I add them, I get 25. Yep. But when I multiply, I get 126. All right. See, as I went along, I can do that check. So 7. So my side numbers are going to be, my side factors are going to be -7 and -18. So this becomes -7x and -18x. See that? And then I got to find my GCF now. I have 2x squared and 18x. Don't worry about the minus sign. 18x. What is my GCF? Well, 2 and 18, the highest number I can go to 2 and 18 is going to be 2, and then x. So this becomes 2x here. If this is 2x, then this has to be x. Agree? Then we have -18. What times 2 gives me -18? That's -9. What times x gives me -7? That's -7 right there. So my factors are x minus 9 and 2x minus 7. Which one is that? Oh, there you go, G. All right. So that's one way of doing it. Or again, you could graph it. That's one way of doing it. Okay. What value of x is a solution? Look at the next one. What value of x? All they're asking for is solve for x. So whenever you see somebody what value of x is a solution, what is value of x? Again, another way you can do this. You can just plug each value of x. I guess one of the easier way to do this, you could plug each value of x into the equation and solve it and see if you get 0, right? So for instance, you could do 3 times -12 minus 30 times -12 minus 72 equals 0. You could do that. And let's see if that works. This is -36. This is going to be plus 36 minus 72. This becomes 0 right here. No, so that does not equal to 0. So you can just plug each number into the equation. All right. So what value of x is solution? Which one makes the equation true? Or just solve for x? And you could do that. We could factor this by, I could factor out 3, right? So 3 is a common factor. If you want to do it this way, we could say, let's divide this by, Okay, let's divide this by 3, this by 3, this by 3. That gives me x squared minus 10x, and 3 to 7 goes 2, 12, 24. Yes. So this is an easy factor, right? An easy factor. Let's factor this one. All right. So a quick X box method. Let's do that. All right. Easy factor. We know this is going to be x squared. We know this is going to be minus 24. We know this is going to be negative 24 here and negative 10. So what two numbers, when I add them, gives me negative 10. You should know that by now, right? No, negative 10. No, that's not going to work. 2 12s. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we could go with negative 12 and 2. So this becomes now negative 12x and 2x. So this becomes an outside now because the x and x, right? This becomes x plus 2 and minus 12. Okay, so now my factors are 3 times x minus 2 times x plus 2 and 3 times x minus 12. And that is equal to 0. So now we can say I'm going to have two equations, right? Because I want to solve for x. I'm going to have 3 times, let's go with black. I'm going to have 3, I'm going to go with 3. I'm going to have 3 times x plus 2 equal to 0. And x minus 12 is equal to 0. Is that correct? X plus 2. Okay. So x is equal to 12. Well, that is not one of the solutions up there. All right. And the other one is I can divide both. You can divide both sides by 3. I have a 3 right here. So let's see. You can do it both ways. You can divide by 3 and then divide this by 3. That gives you x plus 2 is equal to 0, and then x is equal to minus 2. So that's it right there. Either way, so I mean, plug the again to review again. Again, you could graph this in your calculator and see what is the x-intercept. That's one way. All right, or you could plug the values into the equation and see which one makes it true, or solve for x. Either way is fine. I think probably graphing the function and see your x-intercept is probably the easier way to go. All right, okay, this is a very long video. Again, which expression is equivalent? Again, 2 ways you can do this. You can graph this in your calculator, then graph each of these to see which one matches that. Or you can expand this. All right. Or let's say it's a perfect square. All right. 9 is a perfect square. So I take the square of that. Take the square of that. That gives me 3. And then this gives me 4w. 4w. So my answer is just going to be 4w plus 3 squared. All right, very easy. Again, you recognize it's a perfect square trinomial. A lot of kids will on the test, they're going to graph this and then graph each of the answer choices, which is a lot longer if you just recognize that's a perfect square. 9, and you can, and just like this one too, which one's equivalent? Again, you want to see which one of these matches this. Again, this is a perfect square. This is a difference of 2 perfect squares. Okay, that gives me 5. That gives me 3n. So now I'm going to have 2 sets of parentheses. 3n and 5, 3n and 5. One's going to be minus, one's going to be positive. And the answer is G. All right. Okay, I think that's it for now. That's a very long video. I'm going to also put the answer key up there so you guys follow along. All right.